A story from the 13th chapter of Exodus. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was nearer, for God thought, if the people face war, they may change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people by the roundabout way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of the land of Egypt, prepared for battle. And Moses took with him the bones of Joseph, who had required a solemn oath of the Israelites, saying, God will surely take notice of you, and then you must carry my bones with you from here. They set out from Succoth and camped at Etham, on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went in front of them, in a pillar of cloud by day, to lead them along the way, and in a pillar of fire by night, to give them light, so that they might travel by day and by night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. This is a story of our faith.
I confess to be a total biblical geek. I love fishing around for the best biblical story to illuminate a theme. I love walking through the Psalms just to give me a lift. When writing a funeral service, I hunt for the story that best captures the essence of the one who has died. I delight when Eve gives Adam the apple, when Moses confronts Pharaoh and demands, "Let my people go," when Ruth refuses to turn away from her mother-in-law, Naomi. And every Christmas, every year, the Christmas story unwraps the gift that I had not noticed hiding in the text. And who cannot visualize Jesus in the stern of the boat, rebuking the storm? Ironically, most people in our culture swim in the biblical sea, and they have no idea that they are even wet. Biblical themes infiltrate poetry and literature, art, and even commerce. The Apple logo illustrates the bite taken from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Adam and Eve would be proud. Our everyday language is liberally laced with sayings from the Bible, including bite the dust, blind leading the blind, fly in the ointment, how the mighty have fallen, skin and bone, and a drop in the bucket. There are literally dozens of them. One of the reasons that church matters is that we carry and are entrusted with stories that challenge and comfort. Stories that hold the history of our people. We have stories that are provocative, curious, and beautiful, and stories that help us discover who and whose we are. And this reading from Exodus is a great place to start. These 5 verses from Exodus pack a wallop. Here we have people, newly freed from hundreds of years of slavery, ready but not prepared for war, and heading with the 400-year-old bones of an ancestor to a land they have been promised but have no idea where it is. They have a leader, Moses. They have a promise. And they have the presence of God in cloud and fire. Bring your imagination to the story. Imagine the fetters of bondage being released, the overwhelming fear that you will be hunted down by Egyptian or Philistine. Imagine the hope you carry in your heart and the traditions of your people that are symbolized in the bones of Joseph. And imagine being able to experience God's presence every minute of the day and night, and trusting that presence to show you the way. Imagine. And yet in some ways imagination is not required, because we have lived part of this story individually and as a church. Maybe we have felt bondage to a job or a relationship. Maybe these COVID months have felt like an imprisonment. Maybe as a church we have felt confined by not having a space to call our own, or by some way of doing church that has held us from breaking out into what we are called to be or do. Maybe, like the Israelites, we have been overwhelmed with fear of illness, loss, or change. Maybe there is more violence in our life than we care to face. Maybe, as a church, fear of our past or of our future has caused us to take a step back or withdraw altogether from being the Christ Church. The story is conceived in bondage and fear, but it doesn't end there. Hope and promise drive this story, and perhaps you have felt that as well. Maybe hope, like the possibility of the promised land, has blossomed in your life when love began to bloom, or when a new job was offered, or when forgiveness received. Maybe hope has walked through the door of our congregation with a new family, or a note of encouragement from a Fairfield neighbor. At times we may struggle to claim the hope and promise, but our wrestling does not mean that hope and promise are absent. At the Christmas table or a birthday celebration, we may carry the traditions of our family, like Joseph's bones. We carry the tradition of our faith as we share the feast each Sunday, as we baptize babies, and as we say the Lord's Prayer. We know something of the presence of God, be it in cloud or smoke. We experience the presence through the cloud of witnesses that we form together as a church, not only on Sunday morning, but throughout our work and play all through the week. We experience the presence of God through the burning fire we feel to be better people and to make a difference. We live out the elements of our faith story every day. The stories help us to see and to bring perspective on our own experience and experiences. We see our pain in their struggles, our fears in their challenges, our yearnings in their hope, and our failures in their waywardness. We are encouraged and emboldened to name where we see God and how we see God, because we witness the many ways God is encountered through the centuries the texts have been told and written. These stories of our faith remind us who we are and encourage our becoming as a hopeful, forgiving, and loving people, a church that matters.